How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be taking a look at my lineup preview and see how we're looking going into Game Week 5. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from price changes to transfers. And lastly, give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can see when we go live for our FPL preview and deadline streams. We will be doing a stream tomorrow at the time of recording, so that's going to be Thursday at 7 p.m. EDT. We'll be live over on Twitch for the deadline stream for that, and I'll also post the VOD on YouTube as well, kind of at the same time than the deadline stream would normally be if I was posting it over on YouTube. So without further ado, let's talk about our partners for the season with Fantasy Football Scout. So if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, they have a fantastic members area during the regular season. It's £25 for the membership, and that lasts the entire year. And during the off season, they give a 20% discount. But if you have missed that discount, fear not, you can still get the membership for £25, and it's fantastic. You can see the membership area just behind me. You have a bunch of different stats that you can use, powered by Opta stats, and create your own custom tables. You have the Rate My Team tool, you have the season ticker, player comparison tools, a whole array of things that you can use to help elevate your FPL game. So use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to these exclusive tools to help elevate your FPL game. Sign up now. So this is how the team did in Game Week 4. We got 70 points, and we took a -4, which means our total was 66 points, which was enough to get a smaller-ish red arrow from 70k to 88k or thereabouts. So not the end of the world when taking a hit. Could have been a lot worse, considering Salah did end up scoring, and he was the player that I didn't have. I'm probably going to be bringing him in this week. But our transfers that we made from the 3 that we did do for a -4 was we brought in Cristiano Ronaldo in replace of the injured Callum Wilson. We brought in Mason Mount in replace of the injured Heung-min Son. And we brought in Ismail Assar in for the underperforming Harvey Barnes. Now, both Sarr and Harvey Barnes ended up getting the same amount of points. Mount didn't show up, which meant we had to go 3 subs deep in order to get anything off our bench. But we'll talk about that when we get to Mount section in the midfield. But double clean sheet from Brighton, fantastic for that. Veltman did get booked, but he got a bonus point, so it looks like he got a clean sheet alongside Sanchez, so 12 points there between the 2 Brighton guys. Trent, again, just an absolute monster, 12 points, another return. He is just excellent for Liverpool at the moment. He's making these infield runs as well. Also scored in the Champions League. I think it was an own goal, but he basically created the situation himself, and had the shot been on target, it would have been a goal. Luke Shaw getting an assist as well to Ronaldo. Although not keeping the clean sheets, it's either one or the other, it seems, for Luke Shaw, which hopefully he can pair that up coming up in this game week. Into the midfield, Fernandez, we're glad we kept him. He ended up getting us a goal as well, much like Salah as well. So they kind of equaled each other out on that front. Sarr, just the 2 points. Again, he had chances to get a goal and an assist. Just a bit unfortunate there. Ben Rama, just the 3 points. The game from Southampton and West Ham looked a bit underwhelming, to be perfectly honest. I'll pair Antonio in with that as well. That actually helped getting him getting sent off, to be honest. It creates a headache this week coming up, but the reason I say it actually helped him getting sent off or getting negative points was because he was actually over 100% effective ownership at my rank, which means that if he got any points, it would actually hurt my rank. Not by much, but it would hurt it. So the fact that he got minus points actually helped us. It actually boosted our rank, which seems a bit counterintuitive. Why would you want a player on your team not to do well? But it does create some headaches going into this coming game week, or next week, aka Game Week 5. But we'll talk about that when we get there. And I'm glad that Ronaldo played, because if I would have had a captain, I've never had a captain that's gone minus. That would have been terrible. Danny Ings, just the 2 points. Again, had some half chances. Could have had something if Watkins had had his kind of like final third, like brain on, as it were. There were situations where he could have laid it off or just didn't make the right decision in most cases. And Ings was often quite open. And actually got hooked a little bit earlier than expected, or just before the 70-minute mark, I think it was around. So a bit unfortunate there. And then Ronaldo captain. I mean, fantastic. Same number of goals as Lukaku with a brace, but Ronaldo does what Ronaldo does. He was fantastic. And he even scored in United's 2-1 defeat in the Champions League, which is a bit unfortunate for the defeat. But again, he's still scoring. He's had 4 shots inside the box, and he scored with 3 of them. So he's done quite well for himself. Now, Mason Mount was one of our transfers this week, and you can see the little graphic has it up in the top right-hand corner there. The asterisk means they didn't play, basically. So I have to kind of break this down. So Mount didn't play. Gilmore was the first on my bench. Gilmore didn't play. They basically played a mostly rotated team, and that was mainly probably due to the fact that Gilmore played a lot of minutes for Scotland. Shimikas didn't play for Liverpool. Robertson played the whole 90 minutes, which means Ayling had to come off our bench as our third sub and got 1 point for us. So that's where the 70th point comes from. And he came in for Mount, meaning that our formation was a 4-3-3 by the end of it. Begovic obviously didn't play. He didn't come in for us either. So all things considered, taking a hit. If it's only a small red arrow or a small green arrow, I think you kind of take those on average. But we're hopefully going to get some green arrows coming in the next few weeks. I don't plan on taking a hit, but if I want to secure up the bench, I might have to. And we'll take a look at that for this upcoming game week. So this is how our defense lines up for game week 5. Our squad value is currently 99.2 million with 1.3 million in the bank for a total squad value of 100.5 million. We have just the 1 free transfer and all the chips available. We're not going to be using any of those, hopefully, unless, you know, there were players that come off injured off the Champions League games. But it looked like all our players came through unscathed for the most part. It's just the West Ham boys to go in the Europa League tomorrow night. So Sanchez in goal. I mean, he's not going to move anywhere. I don't think Begovic is going to play. And I would prefer the goalkeeper with the home fixture anyway. Trent and Shaw, I mean, they're continuing to get returns, Trent more so than Shaw, and I'm seeing a lot of managers looking at Trent and saying, oh, I should get rid of him so I can bring in Lukaku, Ronaldo, and Salah, and to me, that's just weird. I think Trent is probably the best priced asset in the game, potentially, for the amount of points that he gets. I mean, he's acting as if he's like a 9 million midfielder or something like that, the amount of returns he's getting, so he's not going anywhere from my team. And then Luke Ayling is going to start over the likes of Veltman, has a better fixture versus a Newcastle team that is probably, I would say, worse than Leicester, although it is an away fixture, so it could be a bit one of those where Leeds maybe concede because they're just away from home. And Leeds don't seem to have fit centre backs. You know, Strout got sent off during the Liverpool game due to the tackle on Harvey Elliott, and we, have thoughts go out to him and best wishes so that he can recover. But I think that, and Llorente also got injured as well, so they're in a bit of trouble. So I don't really expect much from Ayling. He's probably going to play in at center back as well. So if I get a clean sheet, I'll be very, very surprised. I expect Newcastle, like St. Maximin, to just rip through Leeds at least once or twice and potentially get a shot on goal. And that shot on goal could remove the clean sheet. We'll also talk about the bench as well when we come to the forward line, because I think I might be planning on keeping Antonio, even though he is suspended for just a game. And we'll talk about our logic and how that changes things when we move into the midfield and the attack. So here's the midfielders that we have currently lined up in the team. We're definitely going to be playing these 4, or at least these 4 slots, as it were. So let's talk about Bruno Fernandes for a second, because he scored. He's done well for us. Got us a hat-trick in game week 1, then blanked in the next 2, and then got us a goal. So all things considered, he's basically got a goal a game, which is about what you would want from Fernandes. I mean, if you're not captaining him, then him being that like 12 million slot just doesn't seem to be providing as much value. And I think that, now that United's main big fixture, the Newcastle at home, Ronaldo's homecoming, is out of the way, I think we can probably cut ties with him, and we'll look at that when we go to the transfer screen as to who that's going to be. So he currently holds the vice captaincy, and depending on who we bring in, which is most likely going to be Mo Salah, spoiler, will change the way we have the armband this week. Ben Rama, Mount, and Sarr, all mid-priced midfielders. I think that Sarr could definitely do well this week. He is versus Norwich. He was a bit unlucky not to get anything in game week 4. So I expect a potential return from him this week. Mount didn't play on the weekend in Game Week 4. He did partake in the Champions League fixture versus Zenit on Tuesday. I think he got hooked around the 70th minute mark or something like that. So I would expect Mount to play versus Spurs. I think it was just a matter of that he played a lot of minutes for England during the international break and had played 90 minutes every game for Chelsea as well. So I think it was just a bit of a rest. So I expect him to come back in and do well against Spurs, and I think he should be getting some assists, especially with Lukaku up front, who's been putting the ball in the back of the net more often than not. And then side Benrahma, he's someone who I can see potentially scoring versus United, although I believe West Ham had a new signing. Can't remember his name for the life of me. I think he came from either the same league as the likes of Souček and Sufal, or even the same team, and he could potentially displace Benrahma in future game weeks. Now, hopefully that doesn't come in as soon as game week 5, but we'll have to see kind of how West Ham do in Europa League to see if there's any potential problems that could be happening there. I'm still not opposed to the fact of getting rid of him for a hit. If we bring in Salah for Fernandes as our one free transfer, we'll have to kind of see how things go. But for the most part, he's going to stay in our team. Leeds and Brentford in game week 6 and 7, and then probably remove him on the wild card. Whether we keep Antonio on the wild card in game week 8, we'll have to see on that front. But I can expect West Ham to definitely score versus United. United seem to be giving up very, very cheap goals, as it were, even in the Champions League as well. You could say that for even both goals potentially. But I think that West Ham could still, even without Antonio, cause United problems, and we'll have to just kind of see how that one plays out. But let's take a look at how we're going to address the potential kind of problem that we have with Antonio being out for the United game. Now, Danny Ings is going to stay in our team for just one more week. I think Everton at home is a good fixture. If he doesn't get anything in that, then we'll probably look to get rid of him for the likes of Bamford or Jimenez, whichever one kind of suits my fancy, whichever one I think could do better, or at least shows me something. Like Leeds are now playing against a team this coming week in Newcastle that they should just shred to pieces. They should just beat them with no problem. And then Wolves also have a pretty easy fixture as well. So depending on what I see from both of those two players, could be an Ings replacement in game week 6. However, we have a forward that's not going to play this game week, and that's Mikel Antonio. Now, if you had to pick a fixture that I didn't want him to play in, it would be versus Man United, personally. So he is flagged and cannot play for this game because he is suspended after the 2 yellows he picked up versus Southampton in game week 4. So there is some options that we have to kind of, change, and depending on what transfers we make, we could do a bunch of different things. So let's go through the couple of different options. It's basically bench him and play one of our options on the bench, remove him, or just put someone bring someone else in from the transfers that we could have, whether it be for a hit or not, and play them, and then bring him back in and just bolster our bench a little bit. But with that being said, at the moment, we still have the captaincy on Ronaldo, vice captaincy on Fernandes. If and when we do bring in Salah, he will take the armband as he has the home fixture. Ronaldo would take the vice just by default. And I think that that's what we will end up going with. But in terms of, let's talk about the options that we have to basically put in place of Antonio. So Robertson played 90 minutes in the Champions League. It is somewhat of a quick turnaround. So they played the 8 p.m. kickoff on Wednesday. They were at home, Liverpool, so it is fine, and they're also at home to Crystal Palace, so there's no travel involved. But I still have some sneaking suspicion that Klopp might just chuck in Tsimikas just because it is versus Crystal Palace at home. It's not like he's changing his front three or anything like that. It could just be something where, hey, Tsimikas hasn't played in a while, let's throw him in there, get him some minutes, because we know he's still good. So I'm tempted to kind of play him instead of Antonio, which is why I have him as first sub. I'll probably just leave Antonio in there just because the 3-4-3 looks nice. And Tsimikas will come in for him as first sub. Second sub, I think I'll probably have is Gilmore, just because he plays Watford at home and might do something. And I expect them to go full strength versus Watford. And then lastly, Veltman. I just think that he probably has the worst fixture, even though they're all home fixtures on paper. Do I really want double Brighton defense versus Leicester? I mean, Leicester struggled to score versus City. They struggled versus Norwich, even though they did score twice. They struggled versus Wolves on opening day to be free-flowing and scoring. So maybe it's probably the smart decision to know that Veltman is going to probably start almost certainly, to just put him in as first sub. But we'll have to see kind of what the press conferences bring, because if there's any kind of news from Klopp that he says, oh yeah, I'm going to bring in Tsimikas, we're going to give Robertson a rest, or whatever it may be, then Tsimikas is going to go straight in to my team. But let's take a look at the transfer screen and see what options we have going into this game week. So this is the transfer screen that we have for our team. Currently, we have a 1.3 million in the bank, and my guaranteed transfer this week, there's no questions about it. Salah came through the Champions League game unscathed. I'm still going to wait for the press conference news just to make sure. But Salah is going to 99.9% is going to come in, which will leave us with 0.8 million in the bank. He's going to come in for Bruno Fernandes and take the armband. And the team on paper would be Sanchez in goal, Ayling, Trent, Shaw, Salah, Sarr, Benrahma, Mount with Salah with the armband, Ings, Antonio, and Ronaldo with the vice. And then Antonio would be the additional problem. So, like I said, there's different things that we could do here. We could take out Antonio and replace him with somebody for a hit, like Jimenez, like Bamford. We could just bench him and keep him for the next game week, and then use that transfer next week and get rid of Ings instead. Because if we look at Ings' next couple of fixtures, Man United away, Spurs away, just not ideal. Whereas Antonio, he has Leeds away, who've been shipping goals for fun, and Brentford. So I think we could definitely keep Antonio for those two games, I think. It's just a matter of, can we get away with it? Now, if Tsimikas is playing Crystal Palace at home, I think that's a fantastic fixture. So I would definitely play him in that. Double Liverpool clean sheet should be okay for us. The other option would be Billy Gilmore, like we saw versus Watford. He didn't play in the game versus Arsenal. I think that's mainly due to just minutes for Scotland. And then Veltman, do we really want double clean sheet? Wipe out potentially if Leicester were to get a goal. I mean, it is at home, Brighton are at home, but I still just think that, historically that fixture hasn't been in favor of Brighton. They typically concede around a couple versus Leicester, no more than that, but they typically do concede when playing versus Leicester, whether it's home or away, over the past few years that they've gone up against each other. So I think it is a bit tricky. If I was going to make an additional transfer, it would potentially be if I had the inclination that Tsimikas wasn't going to play, or it was just Klopp was going to say, yeah, Robertson's definitely playing, it's fine, the turnaround's fine, or whatever. Then I could go for something like this and just go for the likes of Cody and bring him in instead of Tsimikas, freeing up that Liverpool space. So if we need to go to Jota, we can. Let's say, Mount is only, I think he's exact money away from the likes of Jota, if we need to make that transfer, and then we would regain ourselves next week with just the single transfer of getting rid of Ings and then bringing in either Bamford or Raul Jimenez. I'll just put in Bamford as an example for game week 6, and then in game week 7 we would look to, because since Trent plays versus Man City, he does play at home, so I'm potentially more inclined to keep him versus Man City because he is at home. But I just think that the Chelsea fixture might be too good to pass up. It may be a situation where we can kind of go for a bit of a differential in that one. Or maybe we can, see if we can somehow get a little bit extra money. I mean, if we went to Jimenez as an example, just kind of playing around with it on the fly here. Jimenez, that would leave at 0.9. So we wouldn't be able to get the likes of Antonio Rudiger, but we would still be able to get Christensen as an example as a defender. And we can get rid of anyone we want. So in game week 7, Arsenal at home, who does Ayling have? Ayling has Watford at home. So we could get rid of Veltman as an example if we think that Christensen's going to play. Bring him in as our one free transfer. And then longer term, I would like the likes of Reece James or somebody like that. We'd captain Ronaldo in game week 7, and then we could go from there. So I think that's kind of what the transfer plans are. Like I said, almost certainly 99.9%, assuming Salah's fit, which it looks like he is. and he's going to come in and take the armband this week. And if I am going to do an additional hit, it's going to be a defender out for the likes of Cody to give us a little bit more cover on the bench for this coming game week. But let me know in the comments down below what you are doing for your transfers this week. Who's going to be your captain? Do you think I should just use the one free transfer, bring in Salah, get him in captain, because you know he's going to be like heavily captain this week, and I can't go without him because the two fixtures that I thought he wouldn't do well in versus Leeds and Chelsea, he scored in both and has burnt me. So I'm going to bring him back in, give him the armband, and we're going to keep him long term now because he has, you know, his fixtures are good on and off, but he also rotates well with Lukaku, who we are going to have those two most likely from game week 8 onwards. And that's going to do it for our Game Week 5 lineup preview. Make sure to give it a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel. As well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any posts or stuff that we retweet over there that is FPL related. As well as give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. There'll be a pinned comment down below to let you know when the next stream, as well as the link to our Twitch as well. And lastly, take the opportunity and use the link down in the description below so that you can get your Fantasy Football Scout membership. I believe the discount has expired as of now, but you can still get the membership as it's going to help elevate your FPL game through usage of stats tables powered by Opta stats, as well as many features that's going to help you be more informed about the players you're transferring in. It's going to definitely help your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.